In this episode, we talk about Ezekiel bread, how to get back on track after screwing up over the weekend, and why I'm pissed at all of the sugar hate. Hello everybody, welcome to Equals and Alternatives, episode 99, I think. Wayne Gretzky, if I'm right, it might be 98. Today we are reviewing Ezekiel bread, if I'm pronouncing that right. I never really get into like trendy, weird, healthy things. Equal to, and this is actually Ezekiel tortilla, which I think like people think of a wrap as healthier than a sandwich. So we could do an interesting wrap versus sandwich and really stack it up and see what those look like. But equal to this generic Hawaiian sweet bread with 5 grams of sugar and 16 carbohydrates. What's up? Hey, it's Tuesday morning. I'm about to fly to, where am I going? To Tennessee for a day, and then I'll be on the West Coast for a day-ish, and then back to New York. Got a good lift in this morning. Feeling pretty good here, pretty pumped. I did the same thing I did last time, except instead of pulling, I was pressing. So I started with some flat dumbbell bench press and just did a bunch of sets at a lower weight, and then brought it up 10 pounds, brought it up 10 pounds, brought it up 10 pounds, to the point where I was probably, I don't know, like 20 or 30 pounds away from what I would be doing if I was fully ripping it. Did 90s for a few sets of 5, and that felt good. It felt pretty good. But anyway, let's talk about bread. Let's talk about this. Here's what I just did. This was requested to be reviewed, so I'm gonna review it, and I've never eaten it before, and so I do a little poking around, and I find myself in this wormhole of the internet, reading about anti-nutrients and sprouting and different grain types, and how different grain types affect the usage of vitamin D in the body, and how wheat may lead the body to use vitamin D stores slightly faster, which might lead to a vitamin D deficiency. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Why, like, I have completely abandoned, not completely, but I'm going down a route of abandoning my core principles to try to answer these questions, when really, I don't think, the article I just read, it was great, I'm sure it was accurate, I don't think it matters. I don't really care. I don't care which of these that you eat, because I think that stressing and obsessing about such detailed things takes away from the big picture. It makes fitness stuff less enjoyable. If you really want to be 1000% perfect and have the absolute most perfect health ever, cool, but I'm probably not your guy, right? Like, there are 5 or 6 basic principles that if you follow over time, you are going to see results. And what I want to help people do is make those principles fit your life better. Make those principles more conducive to you. Give you the, lend you the motivation or the perspective or the point of view, or paint the big picture, so that you can follow those more often than not to see results while still enjoying your life. And like, if you're going to a barbecue and there's chicken sandwiches on Hawaiian bread, you're not like, oh, you know what, we switched to Ezekiel only, so we're gonna have to pass and go home and have our Ezekiel tortillas. It's like, I don't care. I don't care which of these you eat. Those principles, by the way: progressive overload strength training, being in a calorie deficit if you want to lose body fat, keep protein relatively high, eat some fruits and vegetables, try to make good decisions. But cutting this out, obsessing about this, not good. I mean, not good at all. It tastes very health food-ish. So if that's your thing, and you're like, when I feel like I'm eating healthy, feel like I'm on track, it's easier to stay in a calorie deficit because I feel like I'm making good choices, cool. But I have a feeling these are gonna be really good. Yeah, they're just sweet. It's so tasty. And here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying go home, have these in your cupboard, take out 3 rolls, butter them up, put a big hunk of cheese on there, melt them in the microwave, and have a 80 carb, 55 fat, 11 protein meal. That's not what I'm saying. But you don't have to be eating stuff like this. For alternative, I would take one of these and I would take one of these and I would put 4 ounces of grilled cut up chicken on each of them, and maybe a little bit of your topping of choice, whether that's barbecue sauce, whether that's Frank's hot sauce, a little bit lower carb than the barbecue sauce, and you have a math 32-ish carb, 30-ish carb. Owen will put the real deal on the screen for the alternative. 48 protein and 4 fat. We could even add some cheese on there. We could even do like a little bit of ranch if you're into that. That's our alternative. Nothing wrong with either of these, but we don't have to eat this. All right, I'm a little fired up too because I've been getting a lot of sugar comments lately, and I hate sugar comments. It's like, here's another thing where, no, I'm not going to cut sugar out of my diet completely and only eat whole grains because I'm not trying to live to 99. I'm okay only living to 97 and eating ice cream every day along the way. Like a little bit of ice cream, right? Let's be reasonable. Question of the day. Hey Mike, so I really did well Monday through Friday with my workouts and macros. Then Saturday and Sunday, my macros were definitely carb loaded. So she basically overate carbs. She wasn't really in a surplus, but definitely was not in a deficit. Protein was still pretty high. Monday rolls around. She's feeling not so great about her weekend because she really wants to be making progress. Is there anything she can do to get going faster, to make up for that weekend that set her back a little bit, right? Like, she didn't overeat or blow up, but had she stuck to her numbers, she would be a little bit closer to where she wants to be. Any way to compensate? I think she's also a little bit psyched out, possibly checking the scale. She saw the scale trending down in that Monday through Friday, lower carb, carbs are higher, water retention's higher, glycogen stores are higher, scale's gonna go up, like as much as several pounds, especially if you're looking at a morning depleted weigh-in versus a PM carb heavy weigh-in. That could be like 12 pounds for someone like me. Thank you for your help. Yes, there are things that you could do. The question is, should you do those things? Now let's back up one quick step. If the reason that you overate on the weekend was because it didn't have a lot to do with the fact that it's the weekend, it's a social time, but it had to do with the fact that your deficit is so extreme that 5, 6, 7 days in, you just needed more food and you were psychologically and physiologically in a place where you were just like, I need to eat, then the answer is a little bit different, because I think we should make your deficit a little smaller by bringing your normal calorie intake up a bit, primarily via carbohydrates and a little bit of fats. Just because I set protein where I want it, I set fats where I want it, heading into a deficit. And then carbs play that fill-in. However, assuming that's not the case, and assuming you feel good, like you weren't dying, you felt pretty good, and it was the weekend. There was something going on, there was a party, there was lunches, dinners, family stuff, and you overate and you just want to get back on track, I never suggest doing anything. If you blow up, having a fast day or a half fast day the next day is fine to get back on track, partly because you're not going to be hungry on that Monday and fasting might feel good. I would not suggest doing anything other than getting back on track with your macros Monday, getting a workout in. If you want to do a little bit of cardio because it feels good, go for it. But by severely reducing your intake on that next Monday, on that next Tuesday, you're just going to be setting yourself up for, one, it's a slippery slope. So you have it in your mind that if you overeat, you can just keep things lower the next day and be okay, which isn't an amazing mindset to have. It just leads to more frequent screw-ups, I have found. But you're also just like, you're also just, come on, computer. Come on, Apple. What's with Apple? Who makes an app that's Apple only? Android for life. Okay, I lost the question. And my train of thought. Monday, I would get back on track. There's the slippery slope mentality that we don't want to start, and it's also just, it's going to be difficult. And there isn't a real reason to want to have the scale come down super quickly. It's going to happen naturally. Like by Wednesday, your weight will have reset. So don't weigh yourself if that helps Monday, Tuesday, but psychologically, I know it can throw you in a little bit of a funk. Don't look at the scale, wait until Wednesday, because yes, you could get the scale down quicker by dropping water intake and dropping carb intake, and then you might feel good about that number, but that isn't relevant to long run progress, right? So don't look at the scale, be patient, it'll come back down. Hope that was somewhat helpful. Episode 99. Has anyone watched all 99 episodes? Let me know in the comments, or just email me if you're too embarrassed and you're like, I don't want to tell anyone that I gave away 990 minutes of my life watching this fucking dude talk about Hawaiian bread. 500-gram carb day for me. I'll be having some more of this. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll be on an airplane. Remember, your body is still counting macros even if you're not.